The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Friday, April 10th promise a tense and explosive episode. Taylor may have survived Sheila, but the danger is far from over. Just when Taylor and Deacon start to believe the nightmare is behind them, a chilling new threat begins to rise, because someone is still watching them in secret. At first, the obvious headline is Taylor making it through her showdown with Sheila. That alone is dramatic enough. Any confrontation involving Sheila carries the possibility of emotional chaos, psychological games, and sudden violence. So if Taylor survives, that should feel like a victory. But on a soap like this, survival is often only the first phase of the story. What matters now is whether Taylor truly understands how unstable the situation remains. Because a person like Sheila does not simply disappear emotionally once the immediate confrontation ends. Even if Sheila backs off physically, the damage she causes often lingers. Fear lingers, suspicion lingers, and obsession definitely lingers. That is why Friday's ending feels so ominous. Taylor and Deacon may think the worst is behind them, but being watched changes everything. It suggests that the danger has not ended. It has only gone quiet. And quiet danger can be the most effective kind. It gives people a false sense of relief. It lets them lower their guard. It creates the illusion that life is moving forward again, right before something new explodes. So yes, Taylor may still be standing. But emotionally, she may be walking into a far more fragile phase of this story than she realizes. The image of Taylor and Deacon being watched is one of the strongest clues that their relationship is about to face real pressure. Because once a couple becomes the focus of secret attention, the romance is no longer private. It becomes a threat to someone else. It becomes something people want to control, destroy, or expose. And the first question is obvious. Who is watching them? The show clearly wants viewers to think about Sheila. That makes sense. Sheila has every emotional reason to remain fixated on Deacon, especially now that Taylor has stepped into a place Sheila may still believe belongs to her. If Sheila cannot accept that Deacon is truly moving on, then watching Taylor and Deacon together could be the beginning of another spiral. But what makes this more interesting is the possibility that the show may want us to assume it is Sheila, while the real answer could be more complicated. If someone else is watching Taylor and Deacon, then the writers may be building a smarter mystery. They may be setting up a situation where Sheila becomes the obvious suspect while another enemy works in the background. That would instantly make this romance more dangerous. Because then Taylor and Deacon would not just be dealing with an unstable ex or a known threat. They would be dealing with uncertainty itself. And that kind of uncertainty is where soap relationships become truly gripping. A couple can survive criticism. They can survive gossip. But when they are being watched without knowing why, the entire mood changes. Every romantic moment begins to feel exposed. Every quiet scene begins to feel temporary. Every step forward starts to come with dread. So Friday may end with Taylor and Deacon closer than ever. But that closeness may be exactly what puts them in even greater danger. One of the most intriguing parts of these spoilers is the suggestion that Ridge will, sooner or later, play some role in disrupting Taylor and Deacon's relationship. That is extremely believable, because Ridge has a long history of reacting to Taylor's love life in ways that are not always fair, honest, or emotionally clean. And that is why this story has so much potential. If Ridge becomes jealous, the issue may not be that he wants Taylor back in any simple romantic sense. It may be something more complicated than that. Ridge often struggles when Taylor fully detaches from him emotionally. As long as Taylor is available in the background, he can live with distance. But once she starts building a real future with someone else, his control begins to slip. That is where jealousy becomes disruptive. If Ridge starts questioning Taylor's choices, criticizing Deacon, or trying to protect Taylor from a relationship he does not approve of, then he may convince himself that he is acting out of concern. But the deeper truth could be far less noble. It could be about ego. It could be about possession. It could be about Ridge realizing too late that Taylor's emotional loyalty is no longer guaranteed. And if that happens, then Taylor and Deacon may find themselves dealing with a very different kind of threat. Not physical danger, emotional sabotage. That may be even more damaging, because Ridge knows exactly how to get into Taylor's head. He knows her history. He knows her vulnerabilities. And if he starts planting doubt, then the biggest threat to Taylor and Deacon may not be Sheila at all. It may be the man who cannot fully let Taylor go. If Ridge starts interfering in Taylor's love life, then Brooke may not stay calm for long. And that is where this storyline could become bigger than a love triangle. It could become a marriage problem. Because Brooke has been through this cycle before. She knows what it looks like when Ridge becomes emotionally pulled toward Taylor, even if he claims that is not what is happening. Brooke knows how quickly concern can turn into involvement, and involvement can turn into emotional confusion. So if Ridge becomes too invested in Taylor and Deacon's problems, Brooke may start asking the question she has had to ask too many times before. Why does Taylor's life still affect Ridge this much? That question alone can do serious damage. Because even if Ridge insists he is only trying to stop Taylor from making a mistake, Brooke may hear something very different. She may hear unfinished feelings. She may hear emotional disloyalty. She may hear a husband once again drifting toward an old pattern he never truly broke. And if Brooke feels that happening, Friday's episode could begin laying the groundwork for new cracks in their marriage. Not with one huge betrayal right away, but with something just as dangerous: suspicion. Suspicion changes the tone of everything. It makes every conversation sharper. It makes every excuse sound weaker. And it turns outside drama into inside damage. So Ridge may think he is reacting to Taylor's choices. But Brooke may see it as a sign that her own marriage is becoming unstable again. As if the emotional mess around Taylor were not enough, Brooke and Ridge may also be planning major strategic moves against Katie's fashion house. This is where the episode could pivot from romantic tension to corporate warfare, and on this show, those two things often end up feeding each other. If Brooke and Ridge are preparing surprise attacks designed to catch Katie and Bill off guard, then this is not just business. It is personal competition disguised as strategy. And that matters, because Katie is not the kind of character who is going to accept betrayal quietly. If she feels blindsided by Brooke, especially by her own sister, then this could turn into a family conflict as much as a professional one. Bill's involvement only raises the stakes, because once Bill is pulled into a fight, the counterattack is never small. What makes this storyline interesting is the contrast. Brooke may be dealing with private instability in her marriage while also trying to project strength and control in business. But those two pressures do not always stay separate. If Brooke starts feeling insecure about Ridge and Taylor, that insecurity could affect how aggressively she moves against Katie and Bill. In other words, the boardroom drama may become an extension of the emotional drama. And that is when things get dangerous. Because people do their most reckless plotting when they are trying to regain control in one area of life after losing it in another. Friday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful looks like it could leave viewers with one clear feeling: nothing is settled. Taylor may have survived Sheila, but fear is still hanging in the air. Taylor and Deacon may be moving closer together, but someone may already be turning them into a target. Ridge may claim he is only reacting to chaos, but his jealousy could become the next real threat. And Brooke may soon find herself fighting battles in both love and business at the exact same time. That is what makes this episode so strong. It is not built around one simple shock. It is built around pressure spreading in multiple directions at once. So the real question is not just whether Sheila is gone for now. The real question is who causes the next explosion. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Sheila is the one watching Taylor and Deacon? Or is someone else about to shake up this story in a much bigger way? And is Ridge about to ruin Taylor's happiness all over again? Stay tuned, because this may be where the next disaster begins.